Hello, 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 everybody. This is Barbara Ling, and I am so glad to see all of you here. Over here in New Jersey, it is a beautiful sunny day, and I see a lot of familiar faces. There's Alessandro, Beverly, Danielle. How's everybody doing? How is everything going where you are? Today, I see good. Excellent day. Awesome day. Glad to hear that, Danielle. Well, I'll tell you. Today, we have an utter treat for the content of today's web class. I'm here with Dennis Becker.
Hello.
And hey there, Dennis. How's it going over there? You're in New Jersey too, right?
I certainly am. It certainly is a beautiful day here.
Yep. And now, is everybody here familiar with Dennis? Dennis, to me, is one of the most inspirational marketers that I have ever met. And let me tell you why right now. Now, again, as always, there's going to be interaction in this webinar, and I would like to now switch to my browser and ask you all here. Everybody here now should be seeing the archive.org page. Is everybody here familiar with what archive.org is? I see yes, Danielle, no, alrighty. Now, let me ask you this. We're all online, right? We're all making our living online. A year ago, I want you to imagine what your website was like. Are you doing that right now? And maybe 2 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. What archive.org does is you can enter any URL you want, like, for example, eBay over here, and it will show you snapshots from 1988, 1999, 2004, whenever a site came online and the site was recorded, you can take a stroll back down into memory lane and see what it looks like. I mean, this is really, really cool. Obviously, as you can tell, eBay, this is now, what, 16 years? Tell me, when you're online and working online, how long have you started a business online? How long have you tried to focus, tried to find the right mindset where everything would come together and you would be able to make a really viable living online? I mean, it's been 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Well, I'd like to show you this site over here. Cute little site, beanietags.com. And you see, this is from 1999, 14 years ago. And here's the site also, Wholesale Cases. This started in 1999, had a flurry of activity, 2004, 2005. And take a look also now at this site, which is Hot Toys for Less. Now, tell me, does anybody here remember that somewhat dreaded yet wonderful by children thingy called Tickle Me Elmo? This was such a popular toy way back when. I remember when my eldest was that age, she utterly loved it. And well, this is a very simple site, It basically welcomes people, it gives a bit of information, and it gives a direct link to the eBay affiliate program. I want you to think about this for a second. What if you were able to hit on and focus on one procedure or one thing that works and then duplicate it and duplicate it again and again and scale it up? And then after you've scaled up all of these sites, you don't stop there. You're able to turn on a dime, take what you have learned, and systemize the entire process for another niche. I mean, does that sound compelling to you? Would you like to learn how to do this. And well, one thing I'd love to share with you, this site here, this site here, this site here, these are all sites that Dennis Becker, my guest today, built. And what he is going to share with you today is the mindset that enabled him to move from being in debt, I mean, literally being in debt, being at an age where employers just would not hire him, turning that around, turning that to his advantage, and becoming the guiding force in one of the most popular, comprehensive, friendly forums about marketing that focuses on helping you find direction, helping you achieve your goals online. And I really I am honored that Dennis is here, because the man walks the walk he talks. What he has accomplished, to me, is just utterly, utterly breathtaking. So with that, and let me switch back where Dennis Becker of the Earn 1K a Day fame, the story that you never knew. I'm going to now turn this over to Dennis, and he is going to reveal to you some pretty awesome stuff. All want to hear this? Are we all ready? I'd like to see some yeses scrolling by. Yes, yes, bring it on. All righty. Going to click to change presenter. And Dennis, take it away.
Okay, I have to figure out which screen I want to show here. I think that's it. And let me know when you can see it.
Yep, that looks great.
That's it. Okay, thanks, Barb. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I know you probably have better things to do, and that introduction just blew me away. Barb asked me earlier today, what were some of your early sites, and that I could show, and I said, yeah, I didn't even remember, and I started thinking and looking back in some of my emails, archives of sites that I'd registered, and I said, there's this, and there's this, and there's this, and that beanietags.com I'll talk about in a little bit, and Hot Toys for Less I'll talk about also, because those were turning points in my career and in my life, actually. And
Dennis, when you say that those are turning points, and maybe I'm just not hearing very well, if you could speak up a bit louder. How was it really that, would you say it as a turning point?
I'll get into that, Barb, if you don't mind.
Excellent.
My slides will show, and I'll mention those site names, and it's really fun to reminisce. And I had forgotten about the archive.org. I've known about it for a long time, but I forgot that I had those sites and what I could see, and it's a lot of fun. So the title of my presentation is $5 a day, earn 1K a day and beyond. And those are names of my sites and names of my brand and whatever that we'll be talking about. So I know we have a lot to cover in just a little bit of time. So we'll do that. But first I want to give a little bit about me. I started out as a programmer, a techie, out of school in 1970 to 1977. I was born and raised in northwestern Pennsylvania, Erie, PA, if anybody knows that town. And I got married in 1976. And shortly after I got married, a company in New Jersey recruited me to come out and work for them. It was a software company. It's no longer in existence, so it's not terribly important what the company name was. But they wanted me to be their tech support manager. And I did that for 4 years. And I worked with a bunch of companies. Being an introvert and having to call people on the phone all day long was sort of mind-blowing to me, but I had to do it.
Ouch.
I had a baby at the time that had just been born, shortly after we moved to New Jersey, and we lived in an apartment. I was saving up to buy a house and all that, so I had to do what I had to do. So for 4 years I did that, and I got pretty good at what I was doing as far as supporting people and talking to people and relating to people and all that. But after a while, I sort of wanted to make more money, and I saw other people in the company that were doing that. A small software company that was growing, and I was one of the top people or the top person in support, and I was tech support manager. And
Wow.
the company was doing well by me, and they gave me a company car and all that, but I wasn't making a lot of money, and I really wanted to, and I knew that I knew a lot about what I was doing. So um, some of the companies that I was working for, supporting on a day-by-day basis, said, you know what, if you were available, we'd hire you as a consultant. So I sort of took that with a grain of salt, and I said to myself, you know, I see other people making big bucks, um, you know, $300, $400, $500 a day being a consultant. So why don't I try that? And it was a little bit risky with a baby that was, well, not quite a baby at that point. He was about 4 years old. But I decided to take the risk. And in 1981, I left my job. I became a consultant, and I started working with and teaching companies all over the country. I was traveling all over, a little bit of Canada, but mostly in the U.S. For
Wow.
big companies, insurance companies, state and local governments, from the U.S. Senate to the state of California and the city of New York, and big oil companies, and American Broadcasting Company, and places like that. And it was fun, but after 8 years of that, I got pretty much burned out, and I was missing my son's childhood. He was By 1989, he was 12 years old. So I said, you know what, I'm burnt out, and I decided to get into retail. My hobby when I was a kid was collecting baseball cards and sports and things like that, and I found an opportunity because it was a hot industry at the time to open up a little store in my hometown, so I wouldn't have to travel, and I was selling baseball cards and comics and things like that. So I started out by investing a good part of my savings. Uh, Setting up a brick and mortar store is a tremendous undertaking as far as financial investment,
I
and
can imagine.
people that um, give grief about how much they have to spend to set up an online store by having a hosting account that costs $10 a month, and an autoresponder account that costs $20 a month, and a little bit of that. I mean, that's nothing compared to the $20,000 or $30,000 I needed to spend just to open the door for the first time. So I can really appreciate the luxury we have as online marketers. So in 1989, I opened my store, and things went pretty good for a while. And that went on for about 17 years. I expanded and moved locations, and things grew and things were good. But after a while, things weren't so good. The economy started trashing um, in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was looking for other things to try to increase my income. And in 1998, I found eBay. Okay, I never heard of it before. And eBay was a way that I could sell some of the stock that I had in the store online instead of just within like a 5 or 10 mile radius of where I lived. So that helped for a while. And then eBay led me to starting to think about building a website. I had just heard about the fact that you really could have your own website. And that's what one of the sites that Barb showed, beanietags.com, was. This was long before we have all the nice site builder thingies that we can take advantage of now, like WordPress, for example. WordPress didn't even exist, I'm sure.
Oh, no, it didn't. It didn't.
I found I think I went to a local CompUSA store or something, and I found a box on a shelf that says, build your own website with this, $199. And then I had to pay $50 a month for web hosting, and I think I probably had to pay $75 for a domain name or whatever. And I put up the ugliest site in the world called beanietags.com because I was selling Beanie Baby tag protectors, which is little things that protect the paper tags on a Beanie Baby. They were pretty hot, and I was selling them hand over fist on eBay, and I started selling them hand over fist on my own website too. And that led me to wanting to learn more and more about better looking websites, and about other things that I could do on the web, which I think was fairly young in its existence at the time in 1998, 99, 2000. And I ended up doing some investigation, and I ended up getting on all these email lists from the old timers like Marlon Sanders and Corey Rudel and whatever, people that said that all you have to do is send out an email to people, and you can make $1,000 overnight. And I wanted to believe that because I could really use that kind of money at that point because in the late 90s and early 2000s, my savings had been gone through long ago, and I was building up debt in order to finance the inventory that I was putting into my store. So I was getting pretty desperate by that time, and I was looking for opportunities. In the early 2000s, I became what I call part-time IMer. When there was a break during the store activities, during the 12 or 16 hours a day when I wasn't in my store watching the counter, when there was no customers, which was most of the time, I would be in the back of my computer trying to find out a way to make a few dollars on my computer. So that started in 2002. And for 3 years, I went virtually nowhere. I was just spinning my wheels and losing more money and more money and more money until I sort of got a break. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So at the end of 2005, I sort of figured things out. And in 2006 to the present, I've become a full-time IMer. And I'm doggone thankful for it because I don't know what else I'd be doing if I wasn't doing this right now. So what I don't like about me, you just heard about me a little bit, is that what I don't like about me, and a lot of people know, and some people don't, is that during those 3 years when I was trying so hard, I was really failing. And I don't know why I was failing because I had businesses in the past. I was pretty good at my job when I had a job. And when I quit my job, I was making six figures in the early 80s as a consultant. And that was pretty good money at that point. So I knew I could do that. I knew I could talk to people. I had a pretty successful store for a while until the economy trashed. But I just couldn't figure out this IM stuff. And I was always pretty good at computers because I was a programmer when I had a job. So it wasn't that I didn't know my way around how to move a mouse or anything like that. And I just couldn't figure out why I couldn't make it in IM. And I had racked up well over six figures in debt. Like I think
Wow.
at the worst it was like 300 and some thousand plus my mortgage. So that was pretty daunting. And even if I could have found a job, it wouldn't have been a job that would even pay down the interest on that debt at my age. So and the retail business was failing. So I had my back against the wall. I didn't know what to do. And I should have declared bankruptcy, but when I thought about it, what good would that have done? Because then I would have just had to start with zero, and I still had a family to support. So, but then I had been spending a lot of time, buying products and trying this and trying that and trying everything possible. And I had been a member of forums and the Warrior Forum, which is free, of course, and other paid forums and whatever. And they never helped, but I was pretty much lurking at the time, and I wasn't taking action. I was just seeing what other people were doing, and I couldn't relate to how to make that work for me, except I try something for a week, and I wouldn't really focus on it, but I'd try it, and it wouldn't work right away. So I'd say, well, that didn't work, and then I'd try the next thing, and, well, that didn't work, and week after week, month after month, I would go on. But eventually I found one forum that was not the first one I tried, but the right one, and I decided this is the place I want to stop working. I want to start doing things. So I started posting in that forum and asking people questions and taking advice and trying to do the things that they were doing. And for example, pay-per-click, which Google AdWords was pretty wild west at the time. You could make money with it if you really wanted to, and it really wasn't that difficult. And I had tried during the 2002 to 2005 time frame, but I just losing money every time I tried it. So I said, well, no more of that. I can't afford to lose any money. But in this new membership site, a guy there that was one of the guys who ran the site was doing real well with AdWords. So I said, well, okay, I'll try it his way. Just give it one more shot. And things started to work. And
So Dennis, if I could interject here for a moment. So
Sure.
basically, you found a resource that you were able to ask questions and be proactive and take what you were taught and then apply it yourself. Is that a fair assessment
Exactly. Yeah. I considered him like a mentor. I wasn't paying him. Well, I really was, because I was paying $20 a month for the site or something, or $30 a month. But he was a mentor to me, and I just said to myself, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And I
Cool.
started developing that mindset. So he was a great inspiration to me. And I started doing it, and it started working. And then I started merging that method with my own methods, with my own skills. For example, I've been doing eBay since 1998, and this was 2005. So I was really pretty good at it. And I was an affiliate of eBay, which was easy to do back then. And I had these resources of suppliers of things that I saw on eBay were selling pretty well at higher prices than I was paying. So I said, you know what? If I can set up an eBay affiliate page, and by that point I figured out how to set up pages pretty quickly, and if I can set up an AdWords campaign and I can get these products in the door and sell them and ship them out, maybe that would make me some money. And towards the end of 2005, that started happening. So success started coming my way for the first time in ever. And that was
Nice.
really exciting. And just before I had done that, this was towards the end of 2005, just before the holidays. And when I looked at what this guy was doing, and I said, if he can do it, I can do it. I said, well, how can I do it without spending a whole lot of money, without spending a whole lot of time? Because it's holiday season, and it's really time to get off my hind end and start making things work. So I said, I've tried these other things, dozens and dozens and dozens of them that they didn't work, and I got to make something work. So I said, what they were telling me to do in order to make $1,000 a day by sending an email, that's not going to work for me. Writing a whole bunch of articles and putting them on e-zine articles, I tried that, and that didn't work for me. Writing a blog and building a mailing list at the time didn't work for me. So I said, what would work for me, and what I could maybe try to figure out is something that would just try to do something really simple and not big anticipated revenues. And I set something in my mind to say that I want to see if I can make $5 a day by doing this. And what this was putting up a little website, or actually just a single page with some eBay affiliate links on it, and sending some traffic to it with AdWords, which I had tried before, and I'll see if I can make some money out of that. So I said, it was like late October, early November, I think it was, in 2005. I set myself a $25 a day budget on AdWords, so I wasn't going to lose any more than that. And I said, let's see what happens. And in the morning, we'll look at the results, see how much I sold, and see if I made a profit. And the next morning, I looked, and I made a profit. I made like $50 on that $25 investment. So I said, that's pretty cool. And I only wanted to be encouraged enough to make $5 that day because that was my goal. So I bumped up my budget that day to like $50, and the next day I found out I made like 70 or 80, and so I kept bumping up my budget. And over the course of the holiday, I ended up making a total of like $38,000 in the holiday period of 2005, like 60 days between like mid-November and mid-January, because some people don't spend their holiday money until Christmas is over because they get cash instead of the gift they really want. So they go out and buy it. And this was just solely from sending traffic to a page with AdSense on it and some eBay affiliate links. So, and that was $38,000 profit. And that wasn't near enough to pay off my debt, but it was near enough to get me to know that I was doing things right and I was finally on the right track. And I started telling people in my forum about that, or not my forum, but the forum I was in about that. And they said, oh boy, tell me more about that, because they had never heard such a tale. So I started talking about it in the forum. I started sharing, and they started asking me questions. And I said, you know what? I bet a lot of other people would want to know that too. So I kept doing what I was doing. And what I was doing was what I called my $5 a day strategy. And a book came out of it. And the book was about the $5 a day strategy. And I suspect a few of you have read that book, or the one that I followed up with several years later. But basically, long story short, the strategy is to set a goal, which is what I did in the beginning. My goal at first was just make $5 a day, figure out how to do that. But my goal was to figure out how to make $200 a day, which would have given me enough to start paying down my debt and to reinforce that goal, I wrote that number 200 on a Post-it note, and I put that Post-it note near my computer monitor where I could see it off the corner of my eye, my peripheral vision, all day long. So it sort of fed my subconscious with the idea that that's how much I make every day is $200 a day. And
That is great.
yeah, I still have a note on my computer. It's a bit more than 200 now, but we won't talk about that.
Well, the post-it note strategy, that is so incredibly powerful. I do that myself as well.
Oh, great.
I've put up what I've put up was motivational quotes, but I love the idea of setting a monetary goal that you see every day and gets reinforced. That's very smart.
Yeah, you see it hundreds and hundreds of times every day is the thing.
Okay.
And then the third main thing about the strategy is you want to, or I decided I wanted to make a list when I was first starting. When I said I want to make $5 a day, and I said that's my goal for the short term, not the medium term, but how am I going to do this? So I started writing things down in a notebook with pen and paper, the old-fashioned way, not in Notepad, not in Word, the old-fashioned way, which I think is best because you put your fingers to the pen and you start writing. And I wrote down page after page of different things that I figured I could do, and I came up with the best one for me at that point, which was what I described before, getting eBay affiliate links on the landing page and driving AdWords traffic because I didn't have time to get organic traffic to get #1 SEO rankings and whatever, and that was it. So then I started thinking and teaching about the fact that the money is in the list, and the money on that list, the list isn't an email list at that point. I wasn't even building an email list.
Wow.
The money was in my project list, my yellow legal pads. So every week I would find a new project to do. I'd try to make it a project that I could complete within a week that would add another $5 a day to my income stream. Now, $5 a day doesn't sound like much, and it's not. But if you can figure out this week how to make $5 a day, and then at the end of the week you've completed that, and that continues to make you $5 a day forever, and then next week you do it again, and next week you do it again, after 10 weeks you're making $50 a day. And that starts to accumulate to a nice sum for some people. It'll pay the mortgage maybe, or buy you a new car, or to some people it would be a long way towards quitting your day job if you really want to. But it's starting to be significant money. And after a year of $5 a day, 52 weeks, even take a couple weeks vacation, you're making $250 a day. So that ends up being something that is pretty nice to look forward to. So every week I would pick a new project and I would focus on that project. Now that's the main thing that I want to talk about is focus. Focus is what separates the winners from the losers. When I was losing, which was 2002 to 2005, I was not focusing. I had my store to worry about, and I had my debt to worry about, and I had my family to worry about, and you always want to do that anyway. But there was so many things in my mind, and when I get to the computer, I would say, "Oh boy, I just got an email from Marlon Sanders. He says you want to do this," so I started doing that. And then the next email I'd read would be from somebody else, and they said, "Oh, you ought to start writing a blog." So I started writing a blog, and then somebody else would say, "You got to have a list." So I'd have a list, and this and that, and then I'd write articles, and I'd try different things every week. And I wasn't focusing on anything, and they wouldn't work. But they wouldn't work because I wouldn't give it enough time. I quit too soon. I wasn't focusing. And when I decided to do this $5 a day strategy, I said, until I finish the project that I selected on Monday or whatever day for the week, I'm not going to give myself the luxury of doing anything else. So I'd stick my nose to the grindstone, and I'd figure out what niche I was going to work on that week, and I built a landing page, and I write the AdWords campaign, and I started, and I tweaked the ads, and I split test, and do whatever I had to do, and I track, and I evaluate the results and see if this particular project was working or not, because not all of them do. So I would focus on that for the whole week, and then at the end of the week, hopefully I'd have something coming in. So I complete that, and then next week I'd do the same sort of thing. I pick another niche, I pick another topic, I build another page, and then lather, rinse, complete, and accumulate the income that was coming in. So after 1 week, I'd be making $5 a day, and in a perfect world, and the next week I'm making $10 a day, and 15 and 20 and 25 and 30 and so on. And it wasn't a perfect world because some weeks I'd fail, and some weeks would be spectacular. I had one niche that was bringing me like $250 a day, and I thought at first it was going to be a seasonal niche because it should have been, but it wasn't. It just kept bringing me money after money after money after money, $100, $250 a day, and there are several of those. So some you don't you find that don't work, and some work spectacularly. So mindset was the main thing that I found was different between when I was winning and when I was losing. Um, the ability to eliminate negative self-talk. Now that first campaign that I set up for my first $5 a day project was the hottest product for the 2005 holiday season, and that was the Xbox 360. And what made me think of that was my son, who was, I don't know, what was he at the time? He was 17 or 18 years old, either senior in high school or first year of college, and I asked him what he wanted for Christmas, and he said he wanted an Xbox 360. I said, what the heck is that? And he explained it to me. It was a gaming system, and I said, well, where do I buy it, and what does it cost? He said, well, you can't buy it because they're all sold out, and they're supposed to cost like $300, but you can buy them on eBay for $700 or $800. And well, okay, forget that. And then I read in the paper the next day that the Xbox 360 was the hottest toy available. So that sort of was another thing that stuck in my mind. And so I was thinking of what niche I should get into. I said, well, gee, he said that you can find these on eBay for $700. So it must be a pretty nice affiliate commission for referring one of those. I said to myself was, but my gosh, you can't find those, and there's got to be a lot of competition in Microsoft, and what if the stores suddenly get them in stock, and then the price goes back down? Nobody's going to want to buy them on eBay for $700 if they can buy them at Walmart for $300, and blah blah blah. All this negative self-talk. And I said, you know what? What am I investing? I'm investing a week of my time, and maybe it'll work, and maybe it won't. So I said, let's not worry about it, whether it's going to work or not. Let's just do it. And you know what? I ended up with $38,000 in 2 months from eliminating that self-talk. And I know a lot of people, and I know myself in the past, would have said, no, it's not worth the trouble because I might fail. So
that is a excellent takeaway there, Dennis.
So that's takeaway number one, that if you get nothing else out of this talk, eliminate your negative self-talk. Don't let yourself talk you out of anything. The other thing that I had always kept in the back of my mind is you may already know enough about what you want to do. You don't want to be perfect. We're going to combine a couple things in here. It's like good enough is good enough, and do you already know enough? Those are things that I always keep in the back of my mind. I never want to be perfect, and I never want to wait until I know everything there is about a niche or a topic or a skill. I just want to know enough to get started, and I don't worry about whether I fail. Probably my most important motto that's driven me most is failure is your friend. I wasn't worried about failing on that Xbox 360, and I wasn't worried about the fact that most AdWords campaigns would fail. Probably 1 out of 10 would succeed. No big deal. The ones that do, you keep doing forever. The ones that don't, you cut your losses and you move on to try another one. And I'm not saying that I'm not recommending that people get into AdWords and pay-per-click and all those things that you have to spend money. But this is what I did in the beginning. And I was failing at things that would make me lose money, but it still was enough to get my income up from virtually nothing to well over $1,000 a day for a long time.
Wow.
On these little campaigns. And now I do other things. I don't do what I was doing back then because it wouldn't work now. But doing something is what you need to do. You have to get good enough and eliminate your negative self-talk and think about some of these things like money, love, speed. Like I said, when I was just starting with that campaign, it was like early November, and I knew that the holiday season, Black Friday, was like mid to late November, I didn't have time full run. I didn't have time to do SEO. I didn't have time to do anything. I had to figure out how to get traffic the quickest way. And the quickest way at the time was AdWords. Now the quickest way at the time now might be Facebook ads. I don't know. Things like that. So just do whatever you have to do to get things out there as quickly as you can. And if you don't, if you want to do it perfectly, if you want to take the long route, maybe somebody else will do it first. Maybe somebody else would have got on those Xbox 360 campaigns out before me, and I would have been screwed, right? So you want to do whatever you can as quickly as you can, and good enough. Don't worry about perfect, and just focus, and maybe getting out of your comfort zone. My comfort zone at the time was I didn't want to lose any more money with pay-per-click campaigns, but I said, well, the guy who was running the forum, Matt Livenhagen, I said, if Matt can do it, I can do it. So I tried following him, and it worked. So the other thing, if you keep on doing that old standby quotation, you keep on doing what you've always been doing, you probably keep on getting what you've always been getting. So you want to think outside the box, get out of your comfort zone, and do things a little bit differently. And listening to some of these webinars that Barb puts on, you're going to be exposed to people that have done things differently than you may have ever heard before. So it's well worth tuning in as often as you can. But after I had gotten a few of those under my belt, I wrote a book, $5 a day. After I started talking to people in that forum I was in, I wrote the book, and I didn't expect it to do much. Again, the negative self-talk, which occasionally you drift back into. But I said, what do you guys think about if I wrote a little report about this? And I said, it sounds great, sounds great, sounds great. So I said, well, I think I'll write a little 10-page report or something. I'll give it away as a freebie to start building an email list. And they said, no, you got to sell it. You got to put it in a ClickBank, which was pretty much the main way you sold things back then. So I decided to do that. And ClickBank said, it's got to be more than 10 pages. It's got to be more than, it's got to be like 50 pages. So I really had to dig deep and write and write and write. So I did, and I got it in a ClickBank, and I put it as a WSO at the time. I had the guy in the forum I was in said he'd help me because WSOs wasn't just about paying you $40 back then. I think they were free actually, but you had to get them approved. And he was a moderator over at the Warrior Forum, so he said he'd help me get it approved. So that helped, having friends like that. And another one of my friends in that forum was somebody who said your graphics suck, and I knew they would because that's my least favorite skill. So he said, let me redo some of them for you. So he did, and that was nice. And so I published
that was basically the power of community there that was helping you out as well.
That's right. And the fact that I wasn't just lurking anymore. I had built friends there, and I had showed them, and I had given them some of my information for free that they hadn't been exposed to. And I learned from them to begin with, and then I was sharing it back. So I was paying it forward. And
that is so key, that you make friends in these kind of communities and forums and just help one another out. That's beautiful stuff.
Right. So I started my WSO, and I sold a few hundred copies, and more than that, some affiliates picked up the book. They bought it. They didn't ask for review copies like so many people do. They just, people like James Jones and Travis Sago and some of the others bought it, and they liked it, and they started promoting it. So they started selling hundreds of copies, and it just took off. And I didn't expect more than, I would have been happy with selling 25 copies, I think. And I think I was selling at $12 or something. That would have been, a gold mine for me. I was selling hundreds and hundreds of copies. So, and then what happened is that people started asking me questions. The readers started sending me emails, and I was doing my own support, and I still do. And they were sending me emails, asking questions and advice and all that. And I was happily answering those because it made me feel that they were getting something out of what I had written, and they were actually reading it. But I said, I can't do this all day long because I have my own, I still had the store back then, and I had my own things that I needed to work on also. So I set up a forum, a free forum for $5 a day people. And I said, you can ask your questions here, and I'll respond to the ones that I have time for, and other people can as well. And that worked out pretty good. And all along, my income started, or kept on growing, because I kept accumulating these $5 a day income streams. And I went from my post-it note saying 200, I changed it to I think 300, and then 500, and then 1,000, and after a while, it became that I was disappointed if I didn't make a certain dollar amount, because daily income fluctuates, of course. So, but whenever I poke my head through what I call the glass ceiling, which I like to talk about, um, things would expand to the point where if I was making 500, if it took me my whole lifetime up to that point to make $500 a day out of doing something, once I did it once, I would do it again in a very short period of time. And then once I got to my first $1,000 day, uh, that took me how many years, how many months from the time I got my $500 a day. The second one came not long, not more than a week or so after the first one. And the third
Yeah.
one came only a few days after that. So there was a glass ceiling. And I always talked about Roger Bannister, who was the first man to break the 4-minute mile, to run a mile under 4 minutes at a time. Scientists back in his day, which was back in the 40s, I think, back, or maybe it was the 60s, I forget. I always look it up on Wikipedia. But, they said it's physically impossible for a human being to run a mile in under 4 minutes. Well, he didn't listen to scientists. So he went out and he actually did it. And then once he did it, runner after runner after him, within a short period of time, did it also. So it sort of shows you don't want to listen to scientists. You don't want to listen to negative people. And you just want to figure out how to do it and just go out and do it. So once I started breaking my own glass ceilings, and once the $5 a day forum got going pretty well, I decided it was time to take it up another notch. And I started a membership site called Earn 1K a Day, because I picked the name, which some people don't like because it sounds hypey, but it was because once I had earned $1,000 in a day, then it happened over and over and over again. And what I wanted was a place for people to be able to expand their own abilities in their own mind and relate to people that were doing things that they never even thought possible. And I said to myself, or I said to, as part of the sales process, I said to my free forum members, I said, if I could create a place where I could show you how to earn your own first $1,000 profit day, would you be interested in joining? And I said, after you earn that first $1,000, I'm not going to worry about you. I'm not going to promise that you're going to earn $1,000 a day every day. I'm just going to show you how to do it the first time. And I may have to push you a lot. I may have to provide a lot of information. I may have to embarrass people. I may have to make you get out of your comfort zone dramatically. But I said, if I could show you how to do that, would you be interested in joining a place like that? And a lot of people said yes. So that's when I started the forum. And that was actually 6 years ago today when I opened up Earn 1K a Day. So it's our birthday. And then that went along pretty well. We started showing people how to do things. And in 2011, I figured it was time to write a new book, 5 years later. And next year, or this year actually, 2013, I'm pledging to write another follow-up. $5 a Day Revisited was the things I had learned in the 5 years in between my first book and then, which was 2011. And now I'm going to write another book, and it's already well underway, beyond $5 a day.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's been a good ride. So, is it possible? Yeah, of course it's possible. It's possible for you is the question. I didn't think it was possible for me back when I was failing, back when I was $300 and some thousand in debt. But I knew I had to do something. So I knew I had to start small. And some of you may start at $5 a day projects if you got nothing going on yet. Some of you may be already well beyond that. But scaling up is something that you want to do. You want to do things that you can do once and then do over and over and over again, and increasingly build up your income. You also want to diversify. There was a point in my life that I was pretty much ready to sort of slash my wrist or worse. And that was when I had started building up these $5 a day projects, and I had gotten up to like $200 a day. And then Google came along, and they came up with what people started calling the Google Slap, which was for AdWords advertisers. They imposed a quality score, and they said if your ad isn't or your site isn't of sufficient quality, we don't want your ads unless you want to pay us like $10 a click. And I was used to paying like 5 cents a click. And I woke up one morning and all my traffic was gone. And I said, what the heck? And I started reading the forums, and everybody had, thousands and thousands of other people had undergone the same Google Slap. And that was sort of not a happy day, let me put it. I did figure out how to recover from that, but it was the day that was probably as important as any other day in my life, except for one other, when I learned I had to diversify. I had to do more than just do AdWords campaigns. So I recovered from that, and I kept on going in different niches. And then about a year later, part of my campaigns was I had landing pages that had AdSense ads on them. So I was getting a decent amount of money with AdSense. And in fact, in 2007, I made like over $370,000 in AdSense income. And that was a major income stream, but I had other things going on too at the time. But on Christmas Eve in 2007, I got an email from Google saying, we no longer want you to be in our AdSense program. You are suspended, permanently terminated. We'll send you your last check, and that's it, goodbye. So fortunately, I've learned my lesson about diversification.
Wow.
I mean, some people that would have been enough to put them in a panic. But it didn't put me in a panic. And in 2008, I made more money than I did in 2007. So I just had diversified to the point where I was able to move on and not worry about it. Just do more of other things and scale up the other things and say bye-bye, Google. I don't need you either. So persistence and action. That's something you always want to keep doing. So how Earn 1K a Day started? It started with a very simple series of videos about what I called my mini money site method. That's what I was doing with my sites. It was making me $5 a day with the Xbox 360, and next year I was doing Tickle Me Elmo, and I was doing the Nintendo Wii and whatever the other hot toys were that year. I had a bunch of videos that I showed how to do that, and that was actually the first videos that I'd ever done in my life. I really have always been an introvert, and doing the video was really sort of something I never wanted to do. And I decided, well, these people want a membership site where I'm going to show them where I can show them how to do these things. They're willing to pay me for it, so I'll get out of my comfort zone. And I went over to Camtasia, and I took down their 30-day trial. I didn't have to pay for it. And I said, if I can do these videos within 30 days, and if they don't work, then I just won't pay for the full license. And they did work. So that's how Earn 1K a Day started. And then we started doing more business models and showing people how to do other things with article marketing and site flipping and freelance writing. And it's evolved a lot since then. And just as an afterthought, I started adding things into the download area. It started with a couple dozen reports. And every month I would find a couple more things to add to the download area for people to sort of help them get more knowledge. They didn't have to go out on their own and buy all the bright shiny objects on the Warrior Forum or on ClickBank every week. So now we've accumulated about 1,000 different products, so they become a big sell. But I still consider it something that really we don't even worry about. I've always said to people, it's not about the stuff we have, it's about the relationships that we build and the information in there that's exclusive to us and the things that we're doing to help other people. We have members-only webinars, and we're going to be doing more things. I've also put in other memberships, instant cash generators, learn one thing a day, and we've gone from 25 members to over 700. But it's all about relationships and encouragement and inspiration and helping other people. Like we have one section of the forum that I share where people share their success stories, and it may be the first product they've ever sold, and they're just so excited about it. I remember the first product I ever sold, which was first copy of my book, and that was huge to me. That was to an extent life changing to know that I could do things like that, and and it's about breaking through to your own glass ceiling, whether your glass ceiling is making $50 a day or making $100 a day or $1,000 a day. We want to work people up to that. We've got a section for what are called the breakthrough challenges, where you post a challenge to yourself and make yourself publicly accountable, and you try to get into a habit of day after day doing something to move yourself one step forward to that goal. Your goal might be to write your first book for Kindle, and you think, well, I can't do that, but you can do that. You can if you just write a page a day. How long will it take you to write a Kindle book? A month, 2 months? Where will you be 2 months from now if you don't start today? So we want to get people involved in things like that, and we have been, and it's working. And now we're moving on. We continue to evolve. We've got a Facebook group that we just started yesterday, and Barb and some other people were helping me there to get ourselves in front of other people that are in the spot where they're most comfortable in sharing information. We're sharing information there too, to this free Facebook group. We're starting Google Hangout sessions, which I got excited about just a few weeks ago when I saw how powerful they were, and I saw Barb do some of her own. I saw Jason Fladlin and some of the other people, some of the cool things you can do with those sessions. So I said, that would be great to get a bunch of Earn 1K Day members on a panel, and we could just have Hangouts, and then we can record those and put them on YouTube, and people can see what other people are doing. I just added as a bonus for people that join Earn 1K a Day during our birthday period, as well as the veteran members that have been there for like 8 months or so, a 13-week coaching program that is going to be that is an audio program where people will learn the basics of how to create products and build email lists and create upsell pages and things like that. So we're continuing to evolve. It's been 6 years in the making, and I don't know a whole lot of other sites like ours that have been around for 6 years and are still growing and still have people raving about how nice it is. But that's what we got going on. And Barb, you said you wanted to interject at this point in my presentation. Is that true?
Sure. Yes, indeed, because I can give a small tour of the Earn 1K a Day forums. I am a member as well. And let me now switch over to me as the presenter, and let me move now to, is everybody seeing my browser screen here where you see the Wayback Machine? Now, as I had mentioned, I'm a member of Dennis's forum, and one of the most powerful things, he mentioned it, touched on it briefly, but I really, really, really want to zero in on this, is the Breakthrough Challenge. Now, I don't know if everybody on this call is aware, but I joined Earn 1K Day back 2012, and I attended the event in August of last year. I presented there as well, and Dennis was explaining to me his goals and his dreams and what it was that he wanted the Earn 1K a Day forum to do for people. And he mentioned to me the Breakout Challenge. And as you can see, I started doing that. And my Breakout Challenge, and keep in mind, folks, I've been an online marketer now for 17 years. And right after that event, I started my Breakout Challenge. I need to get my rear end gear, get my daily blogging done. And what is so cool about the community is that Dennis will always comment, other people will comment, the encouragement that gets you to continue, even if you think, my gosh, this is not working. Why the negative self-talkers? So there will be contributors who will then, pop in and give you their input. They'll cheer you along. And for me, that was just absolutely gold, to the tune of what? To the tune of about 7 pages or so, as you can see over here. Now, Another thing that Dennis mentioned as well, the downloads on the Earn 1K Day. How many people here? How many people here have seen BSOs, bright shiny objects, things from Warrior Forum, things from JV Zoo, things from ClickBank? Like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I have to buy it, have to. Well, you know, what Dennis does is he goes out there and he gets the material that he can get the license to share within the forum, and well, he does. You have like this. I know it was hugely popular. Webmaster videos, icon makers, Scene Mitts, his stuff there. Local lead magician, how to sell digital products, visual sales plates templates, and traffic on demand, which is utterly, utterly cool. This is one of the benefits that's also given in the Earn 1K Day forums. And then, of course, what we have here is we'll have the sub-forums, general discussions. People will talk about their ideas, and folks will share their suggestions. If you have a difficulty in a specific internet marketing niche, a specific skill set, post it. Almost guaranteed somebody of the community is going to just stand up and say, hey, you can try this, you can try that. And to me, honestly, that is the true power of the Earn 1K a Day forums. Now, there are several excellent forums out there, and they all have their benefits and good features. And what I really, really, really love about what Dennis is telling over here is that you're not locked into you will make money this way, you will make money that way. You have to be go, 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 grab, grab, grab. You have to be the what's the most popular car these days? The Mercedes-Benz. You need to buy the Mercedes-Benz. You need to buy the Porsche. You need to have the sandy beaches. I mean, heck, Dennis, I think you drive what, a minivan from 2000 or so?
Yeah, 2000, yeah.
Okay, this is not the flashy forum. It's not. This is the down-to-earth, the down-home forum where if you want to find yourself in a company of like-minded people who just plain want to succeed, and you won't find anything else like this online. And that has been my experiences with Earn 1K a Day. I'm going to now switch back to Dennis, and you can continue. Mike.
Thank you. Let me know when my screen shows.
Yep, your screen is up there now.
Yeah, I just want to leave it not unsaid that I drive a 2000 Chrysler minivan, not because I have to. When I had to get rid of my last car because I had some severe mechanical problems, I said, well, should I go out and lease something nice? And then I realized that I looked at my records and I saw that I'd only driven like an average 2,500 miles a year for the last 7 years. I had the other car. I said, I really don't need a great car. I just need transportation. So, and my wife has a car that's a newer model that we use whenever we go somewhere else. So I said, I don't really care. I just want to pay cash for basic transportation. So it's not like I'm destitute anymore. My $300 and some thousand in debt is paid off, and I was fortunate enough to be able to buy a condo in my dream location last year, which is on the ocean front in Atlantic City. So that's what I like to spend my money on, and I got a granddaughter that I want to spoil now too. She's a year and a half old, so it isn't all about the snazzy cars and the snazzy mansions and all that and the vacations. I'm happy with what I am, with what
cool.
I'm doing. So yeah, so let's see, where were we? Yeah, we got the birthday special. And, during this 11 days, 12 days, starting today through the 27th, those who join Earn 1K a Day, and there is a trial period, a 14-day trial period area for just $9.95. So you get to check it out and see that it's everything that I've said and that Barbara's said, and that I really don't try to oversell it at $9.95, which isn't special because that's always been the cost for a while. But during this event, I mentioned the coaching program that we normally sell for $97 a month for 3 months. It's a 13-week coaching plan. I normally try to give just about everything that I buy to earn 1K a day people if I have a license to, and I do have a license for that to give it to earn 1K a day, and they do get it once they've been what we call a veteran member. We have a couple dozen things or a dozen things that veterans get after they've been a member for like 4 months, so it isn't just they get all the best stuff right away and then they can quit after 14 days. We don't want to encourage that because, again, as I said before, it's not all about the stuff. We want people in there participating in the breakthrough challenges and introducing themselves and building relationships and all that. That's the important part. Forget about the 1,000 things in the download area. I may have paid something like $50,000 over the last 6 years for that stuff, and I think that is the cost that I figured out not too long ago. But it isn't about that. It's about getting in there and challenging yourself, and in that breakthrough challenge that Barb pointed to, that's instant accountability. I mean, you can say to yourself, I want to do this, or I'll write my book whenever I get a chance. But when you get in front of people and saying, I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to build a site, or I'm going to write a blog post every day, or I'm going to do whatever. When you tell people you're going to do it, you're more likely to do it than if you tell yourself you're going to do it. Because if it's just yourself, you can make an excuse. If you get in front of me, and in front of Barb, and in front of a bunch of other people that know that it's possible, you're going to be embarrassed if you don't do it. So that's a good thing to get yourself set up for, because it's sort of there is no failure here. Failure is not an option, and that's what we like to get people's mindset thinking about when they join us, and it works. That's the whole thing. This works, and so during the 6th birthday event, you get everything that Barbara's shown you and more, and that I've talked about, as well as the coaching program instantly instead of waiting like 8 months. And you get to start out for $9.95 if you go through her special link here. And I think she's got some bonuses for you too. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yes, indeed. Do you have that on the slide, or should I just bring it up?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. You did give me that slide. I forgot about that. You just give me that today. So, yeah, here's a slide with her bonus. Now, I don't know what it's all about, so I'll let Bob explain it to you.
Indeed, indeed. Let me just quickly change again to me for the presenter. And I want to show this. Yes. This is my product creation caffeine, which goes for $100 right now in my Perking Up Profits group. And what this is a recording of a high-powered web class that I gave that shows how to easily and quickly create virtually guaranteed bestsellers in under a day. And as a matter of fact, one of my students, Alessandro, he took the class on Friday. He wrote his product Saturday and Sunday. He launched his product on Monday, and by the end, he sold over 200 copies by following the techniques that I showed. Now, in product creation caffeine, what you're going, Alessandro just mentioned, 244. What it is it has a mind map for product creation, what to follow. It has product creation ignition, which is my complete how-to guide. I'm zeroing in on best-selling product creation ideas. It has a really neat bonus of my before and after. Back in 2002, I created products in one particular way. And then in 2013, did I say 2002? I meant 2012. Excuse me. I changed. And in these particular techniques, I also include The templates for making the products, I include templates for your timeline graphics, for your reports as well. Okay, sorry, wrong thing there. Let me get that back. Hang on. Okay, let me move this over. Okay, here we are back again. And what's really, really cool, has anybody here ever heard of the following name? Colin Therio. He is one of the most popular copywriters out there. He gives ideas and techniques about all of your copy issues in ways that just knock you flat. And one of the bonuses is Colin's review he did for me for the Product Creation Ignition, and it is freaking huge. It is an education amongst itself. And again, you're going to be receiving all of this. Again, this currently goes for $100 and perking up profits, but if you choose to invest in Dennis's birthday special at the e1kdaynow.com, send me your receipt, and I will send you all of this information. And trust you me, it is a huge, huge amount. Let me switch back over now to Dennis. And there we go. Hello.
There we are.
You're on there, Dennis.
Is my screen there now?
Yes, your screen is there.
Okay, so there's a link. So as Barb said, you get her $100 course, and you get my $300 coaching course, and you get a whole bunch of other stuff for an initial investment of $9.95 for a 14-day trial. Now, we aren't just selling all this for $9.95. You know, Earn 1K a Day is a continuity program, and I think it's fairly low priced at the price it is, which is $49.95 a month. And I like to think that between now and the end of the 14 days, hopefully, or if not, to the end of the first month, you should, if you take action, and that's the key, and you eliminate your negative self-talk, and you follow some of the things that Barb talks about in her class, and I talk about in my forum, and some of the things I've written that you get access to. If you do all that, there should be no reason that you're not making a whole lot more than your monthly investment in Earn 1K a Day. And I'm there, and if you're active and if you're posting, I'm going to be encouraging you every day to keep on doing what you're doing, or if necessary, to have a little bit of a shift in your thought process. All I ask is that you get out there and introduce yourself and set up your own challenge and start going for it. Like I said, that breakthrough challenge is a good spot to make yourself publicly accountable, and I'll be watching, and a whole bunch of other people are going to be watching, like Barb showed you when she looked at her thread there. I saw other people saying "atta girl" and keep it going and whatever. I think that may have had a little bit of I won't take all the credit, but a little bit of it helped her a little bit between August 2012 and where she is now, because I know she's grown tremendously in her skills and in her success. And
yep.
There's a lot of other things that went into that, but sometimes just a little bit is going to be the impetus to and the inspiration to get you from where you are now to where you want to be later.
Write it down. Very good.
So I think that's the last slide I have. Oh, takeaways. Probably said this. Mindset is crucial. I've always felt that. I always will, and I always stress that. And we're going to be having a Google Hangout section on that for Earn 1K a Day people next week. Failure is your friend is my number one motto, along with money, love, speed, and good enough is good enough. But focus is also super important. Patience. I get so frustrated when I see people that either join the forum or read my book, and they say, well, I've tried this and it just doesn't work for me. I must not be cut out for it. Well, there's a negative self-talk, number one, and there's a lack of patience. I went 3 years before I saw any success. Doesn't mean you have to go 3 years, but it means that some people, myself included, sometimes don't find that inspiration or that mentor or that leader or that place that they want to be before they start making themselves successful. And I found a place back in 2005, and I've hoped that I built a place and starting in 2007 through today to give that place to other people. So um, if you're patient, internet marketing is definitely a lifestyle, a career choice, or whatever you want to call it, that can make magic happen for yourself and your family and your goals and your legacy. I hope that it's going to be something that I can pass on a lot of things to my granddaughter, who's 18 months old now, and that's keeps me going. I could retire now if I wanted to. I don't want to. And I'm having too much fun doing what I'm doing, and what's fun is being able to help people. And if you get in there, I want to help you. So it's a place that I hope people can grow and build relationships and be encouraged. And as long as you don't work there, if you don't just go in there and download some of those 1,000 products and Barb's bonus and my coaching bonus, if you do more than that, you're going to find a place that you're going to like, I think. And then I'm not going to be worried about the fact that you're going to get all that stuff just for the $9.95 initial trial, because I think you're going to want to stay there.
Very cool. Very cool, Dennis. Wow. That incredible amount of information that was shared. Thank you very much, Dennis, for taking the time to come in and talking to our network here.
My pleasure.
Or so. And yeah, so we've gone over the key crucial aspects. Mindset, failure is your friend, and my gosh, I can so relate to that. Fail fast, fail quick, and then just spring ahead until your next attempt. And it just builds up and up beautifully. So question time. Do we have any questions here? I see that Manuel wants to know, is this a limited time offer? And I believe, Dennis, this is a limited time offer, your birthday sale, correct?
The instant access to the coaching is a limited time offer, yes.
Yes, yes. That's for the 6-year birthday sale.
Right. That's normally
And,
$97 a month for
mhm.
3 months, or wait until you've been an Earn 1K Day member for 8 months. But for this birthday period, it's instant access to it.
Yep. And then also, Danielle mentioned that the forum is huge. Where do you start looking? Where my favorite place to start was the Breakthrough Challenge, because I just wanted to introduce myself. Where else you could look is the general discussions. Also, look at the downloads to see what intrigues you of what you're currently doing, and of course the lounge, because the lounge is where we all gather just to chat about things besides internet marketing too, and it's a great way to know the community. James wants to know, is there a lifetime offer for Earn 1K a day? I don't know. Is there, Dennis?
Yeah, but I don't generally publicize that until somebody's gone through their trial period and decide they want to stay,
That makes
because
sense.
there's no refund after on the lifetime offer, but there is a lifetime offer.
That makes sense. James wants to know, do you need to know how to spell to belong to Earn 1K a day? No, no.
No, I was going to say yes.
It helps if you can spell well,
Yeah.
but we can understand our typos or so. So I think that, oh, and James mentions, thank you, Dennis, for sharing your story. I've heard a few times. It's always inspiring. I am finally joining Earn 1K a day,
Yay.
and I will learn how to surrender to self-sabotage and focus, focus, focus. James, we're so looking forward to seeing you. That's great. And again, the link to access all of the bonuses in this limited time offer is http://e1kadaynow.com. And Val mentions, Dennis, you're a man of great integrity, very refreshing, and oh my gosh, I so have to agree with you on that, Val. The
Thank
man
you, Val.
walks, oh, quite welcome. He walks the walk, he talks. And when you see all of the hype and froth that is on there online, I mean, that is getting just rarer and rarer. And Alessandro just joined some minutes ago. Thank you so much, Barb and Dennis, for making this offer. Very welcome. Really glad to see all of you signing up here. And if there aren't any other questions, I think that we can close this web class. And again, Dennis, thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate it, and I know the whole audience does as well.
You're welcome, and I appreciate your giving me a place to talk and to get what's off my mind out into the open for other people that might end up benefiting from what we have. And it was really fun when you reminded me about the Wayback Machine. And I remember my beanietags.com, my very first ugly site.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, I've put my site barbaraling.com, and it's shown up from 1998 and 1999, and it just brings back so many memories because we all started as beginners.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, I mean, yes, you're now running Earn 1K a Day Forum, but there was a time that you had not a clue what the heck you were doing. I mean, I think you had mentioned for 3 years you tried this and that and everything, and because you weren't focused, you didn't get
focused.
You just didn't get the success that you desered. And
I wasn't focused, and I didn't know who to follow, and there was a lot of charlatans out there that is feeding information, and it really frustrates me because more often than I like to admit, I get emails from people saying, I want to join your site, but I just spent, 6 weeks ago, I just spent $3,000 for this course from this mail order company, and they told me I'd make all this money, and then they ran away with my money, and I don't have anything, and now I can't afford to join your forum, and can you give it to me for free? And I don't know. It's so frustrating.
Yep, there are a lot of people that are there after your money online, and there are a lot of so-called gurus who their best way of guruing is basically giving the smoke and mirrors. But what's so cool about you, Dennis, and the Wayback Machine shows this. I mean, you're proven. You have walked the walk that you talk. It is there online. Anybody can check it. And the success you have now, it's directly, I suppose, derived from not listening to the negative mindset to starting to focus to figuring out what works for you. And that's also a really cool thing. What works for you? Because what works for you definitely does not work for me, particularly the AdWords. I never was able to do AdWords. I was the AdSense person instead. But the same focus, it's still there. Find what works specifically for you, not for anybody else, but for you, and then just rinsing, repeating, scaling. And what your community does is that no matter what works for you, you'll have people cheering you on and giving you ideas to build it up ever more and more. So, yeah, that's really excellent. And Danielle just mentioned signing up. Thanks. So excellent, Danielle. And we will see you there. So if there isn't any other questions, I think we've covered it all. Again, thank you so much, Dennis. And this is Barbara Ling with Dennis Becker, and we are signing off. And we will see you on the inside. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.